Welcome to Producer Profile. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Jim Hill.
I have a quote from a drummer, Drury Munlack.
Okay.
And he says, Parlor Jazz offers an intimate, warm, and friendly performing environment for the improvising musician to feel free to explore, open up, and share the music with the audience, who are there to really listen and be moved. It is a special place where magic can happen. Parlor Jazz is bringing the music back to the people in the community. It deserves to support. And as our guests, we have the creators of Parlor Music in the Moment. We have Jim Moorhan and Dave Palazzo. Welcome to
Thank you.
Producer
Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, did I get the name right?
Parlor Jazz in the Moment.
Parlor Jazz in the Moment.
Now I know that it takes a little time for a baby to be born. Okay, when did the seed first happen?
Yes.
Oh God, I was a kid. When my parents used to listen to, they have a J.J. Jackson album, Sarah Vaughan.
Right.
And I used to listen to these artists, when I was 4 and 5 years old.
Right.
But along the way, I came away from listening to that music during high school, junior high school, and that. But I got back into it back in the 80s, and I started hanging around with the musicians, and anytime music really moved me, I always wanted to. I said, God, people should really hear this, besides just me, and so that other people can feel like I used to feel when I would hear them play, hear a great vocalist sing, and so I always thought that I liked the company, I loved the music, I'd like to be able to put that out there and promote, and it kind of started that way.
Okay.
Actually, I want to mention the seed more recently was Bradford Branch, one of the artists we represent, was showed at a piano room in Manhattan, and we had Rochelle Thompson, who became our first singer. She happened to pop in, and the place is full of pianos, and there was a pianist there, and they just improvised, and all of a sudden, like, Jimmy and I said, wow, what a great jazz vocalist. And from her, the circle of musicians widened more and more.
Wow.
It embraced other people, and New York is just an incredible music city like nowhere in the world.
Now, your venue is a little bit different from most jazz clubs. Your venue is in a brownstone. How did that come about? I mean, I've heard of music in brownstones, but how did yours come about?
Well, we were inspired by Marjorie Elliott. Marjorie Elliott is known as the jazz hostess of Harlem. She's been doing the Parlor entertainment, she calls hers, since 1992, for very different reasons than we started. But the same vocalist, Rochelle Thompson, she was going to be performing at Marge Elliott's Parlor entertainment. And so we went, and we figured we'd go for two reasons. One, because we had to go for Rochelle performing, and the other is to see just what Marjorie did and how she laid things out.
Okay.
What it took,
Okay.
to do it, and were we going to be able to do it, and was it, feasible? So that was the start. That was another start. There's many beginnings.
Now, did you purchase the brownstone with that in mind?
Also.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll answer that. What happened was I bought a co-op, and then I bought a brownstone in the Fort Greene area, and at the same time I'm an immigrant from a very poor family, and my mother raised myself and my twin brother, and we never really had an opportunity to take any music or enrichment. So I guess better late than never.
Right.
I bought a piano like 4 or 5 years ago,
Right.
and I started taking lessons about a year ago, and I really want to get into music personally, learn how to play
That's right.
like the jazz musicians
That's right. That's right.
So it's a lot of work.
Better late than never.
So,
Yeah.
Jimmy picked out this fabulous piano from the 1920s. We had this upright, beautiful piano, which
Big
is
sound.
at the height of the jazz era. So we have the look and the feel of the times, and it makes it a really intimate setting. It's a double parlor. We can seat 45 people.
Really?
And next up, we'd love to have archival records we've lost a lot of treasured sounds by not taping
Beautiful
incredible
moments.
performances.
Now, we heard some music in the background. What were we hearing then?
Oh, that was Eric Frazier.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Eric Frazier, who we met along with his daughter,
Duewa Frazier.
Who was a wonderful
Yeah.
poet.
Yes, we
We've
interviewed
gone up
Duewa.
to
Yeah.
see her perform at Sisters Bookstore up in
Yeah.
Harlem, Amsterdam. And he brought her over to the apartment, to the house, and to give us his press kit, her press kit, and because I wanted to talk to him about performing there, and I thought it would be fantastic to mix her spoken word, you know, a few pieces here and there throughout the evening, just to give a little variety, give the people that are coming there a little bit more that, you know, jazz is evolving, you know, and
Right.
spoken word is part of that, and she does it so well.
Really?
And we're really excited.
Now, how do you promote in the moment?
I get press releases out through Time Out magazine, New York Times, Village Voice,
Positive vibes.
Positive Vibes with Ed Huff.
And also a very classy website, I must say.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
That was another evolution.
Very. Could you say the address of the website, please?
Oh yes, it's www.geocities.com// In the Moment Productions.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. The aroma of your place, I mean, did you get a designer to come in and just develop this whole look?
No, we did it ourselves. That's all.
Yeah.
But we want to make it comfortable. We don't want to make it look like it's a club. We also have a smoke-free venue. A lot of jazz musicians hate. They don't smoke.
Right.
They don't drink. It's a new generation.
Especially
it's not
vocalists.
the old. And
It's a good
unfortunately,
thing for their voice.
a lot of clubs, there's smoking going on. Waitresses and waiters are walking back and forth in front of them
Yeah.
while they perform. So this way they get center stage.
Okay.
and
Total
they
focus.
They get
Okay.
total and more respect.
Very
And
nice.
it really is nice.
And it works both ways because they react, the musicians react from the audience's reaction. The audience is they're ecstatic and they're loving what they're hearing. They're very animated, and the musicians love that, and it works both ways.
So how would one get tickets for it,
Yeah.
or how would one go about?
Well, we're not doing tickets. We haven't got to that point. Where
Oh, okay.
I wish.
You're not standing in line yet.
Someone else asked me about
Right.
that. No, right now we're getting flyers out. Right now, what I have here is we're considering doing a
Yeah.
T-shirt, and it has it's a compilation photograph of all the musicians that have played there since February 23rd, our first show, and who will be performing right up till the end of this year. And I design postcards, and we do the flyers. We get them out in the neighborhood, and the Clinton DeKalb Avenue is the whole restaurant row. We've been hitting the restaurants, and we're really going by word of mouth.
And how
Right.
often is this? This is like every
The first and
Thursday,
third Saturday of the month.
First and
Every
third.
month.
Saturday evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We
where-
also offer refreshments, wine, light beverages, water.
Yeah.
And where are you located?
119 Vanderbilt Avenue,
Okay, that's very important.
between Myrtle and Park.
Okay, that's 119 Vanderbilt Avenue between Myrtle and Park.
Yeah.
Right near Pratt Institute
Okay.
and St. Joseph's College.
What time is evening?
9 o'clock.
9
9
to
o'clock.
11:30.
Okay. When is Eric Frazier playing there again?
Yeah.
Eric will be there November. It's November. I'm trying to remember my calendar now. November 4th, I
November
believe.
4th. It was
Okay.
If
October
that's
4th.
a Saturday. I'd urge anyone to check the website or give us a call because our telephone number is on the website as well.
Okay.
And give us a call if you need directions. I have the directions on the website as well, from by car from the various directions and by bus.
How have you been received in the community? What's been
It's
their
interesting.
response?
We've got occasionally people from our own neighborhood will come, but ironically, we've had people from New Jersey, Suffolk County, Manhattanites, people from the other end of Brooklyn. It's strange that we'll get people drive an hour and a half, and we have repeats.
Yeah.
We have loyal followers who bring They bring cake, they bring food.
Groceries.
They bring groceries. And all of a sudden, it's a 3-course meal instead of light snacks. Like someone baked a beautiful cake for us.
In a box,
and
all
beautiful.
decorated because they live in the community. Earl, he's a cake baker and
Earl Smith, yeah.
wonderfully decorated with his business card on the box and everything.
Okay, we're going to take a musical break, and we are going to hear Cannonball Adderley's Work Song, okay? And he was one of the greatest jazz saxophonists of all time.
Oh, yeah.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so let's go to that. You're watching Producer Profile. We have as our guests today Jim Orhan and Dave Palazzo of Parlor Jazz in the Moment.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell us, what has been one of your favorite moments in Parlor Jazz in the Moment?
That would have to be Ed Pulser.
Okay.
Ed Pulser is a vet. He's a veteran. He's played with swing bands. He was part owner of Eddie Condon's downtown in the Village, and was a regular there. He was also the manager, and he's a swing cornetist, and I say swing because that's what he does. And he not only did he play, he played with piano player Dave Cook, and just the two. But he also educated our crowd there that evening. He let everybody know
What did he let
We
you know?
learned that plungers from toilets can be used to make sound.
Okay.
You take the plunger and you go woo, woo, woo. You know, like.
I hope it
and
was
had
clean,
only-
huh?
He muted. It was great. I mean,
Wow.
he had us in stitches.
And that each one creates like there's a D plunger and there's another one that got B or something like that that creates the different sounds and the hum and mute. And,
Wow.
and then when he would play it, he would go into a number and then he would come back and ask the audience if they recognized the difference in sound between the two. So that was nice because it is all about educating people to jazz too. We also had a group, Droy Mondlak, Straight Circle, which is, we usually do a program for the evening if the musicians give us the information on their musicians in time enough. And I do a program which we have, the flyer looks basically just like the program, and each of the musicians get one of the flyers to take with them. And inside of the program they list the bios of all the musicians, and on the back it'll have special thanks for people who have repeat patrons, people who have been very supportive. And this particular group, the bass player, what was his name? Ratso Harris.
Ratso Harris.
From
yes.
Droy Mondlak and Straight Circle. He came in with a very unusual bass. It was a long, thin, it was a stick, and they call it was an electric bass. And I knew that I had never seen one like that, so I assumed that probably most of the audience hadn't either. So I asked them when they were through if he would explain what the bass was about, and so he explained who made it, when it was made, and what you need to use.
Wow. Very good
I want to
information.
give you my favorite moment.
Okay.
A different performer, Moffat. What's his first name?
Cody.
Cody Moffat Quintet. We didn't know who was showing up. He brought his two sons over.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a 12-year-old, 13-year-old son who did something I never saw before, ever performed. He wrote a tribute to 9/11, and it's like, I think it's We Are Afraid, something like that. And he did the words, almost like a rap, but he's jazz instead of
Jazz
hip-hop.
rap.
Yeah.
It was a jazz rap, and it's a wonderful thing. You got the old jazz, and then you have
That's right.
the new,
The merging of
the merging,
the two,
and I think it would be a great thing to bring the two,
two together.
hip hop and jazz. You know, the
Okay,
word.
so for the
And I
future.
it was really great,
Which they're doing now anyway.
Yeah.
and he's being recorded. The kid
Yeah.
has a contract.
What's his name again?
Moffat, I forget the
Cody
boy's-
Moffat,
Cody
Oh, the
who's
boy's
from a
name?
whole family.
Marco Moffat is the
Marco
kid's name.
Moffat.
Marco.
Okay.
And Cody's from a family of musicians himself.
That's
Right.
not called jazz fusion, is it?
That's one of the fusions, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we've had like duets, trios, quartets, quintets, male vocalists, female vocalists. I mean, we've had more like avant-garde. We've had music by Monk. We've had jazz standards, from the Great American Songbook. You never know. We don't want to really lock people into say you must play only this kind of jazz.
Okay.
We
So
could
you're-
even
you're
do
open.
Latin
That's right.
jazz eventually.
That's right, because they get
Really?
enough of that in the clubs.
Do you ever have musical moments where no one wants to go home?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
How do you pick 'em
The
out?
last show, the last show.
Oh,
The
yeah.
last show went till 12:30. It went into the next day.
They kept performing.
We
So you had to flick the lights. Okay, this
She,
is it.
she was,
It was
everybody
Tammy
was in.
Hunt.
Tammy was like, everybody was
she's lovely.
holding hands and clapping. It was like a revival
Wow.
meeting
Oh, yeah,
in jazz.
she got them going at the
She
end.
had us
and
all.
It had another positive message. What was that? She was talking about people coming together.
And living and loving and
And it was
the
a
whole
responsorial type of thing, and it was really fantastic.
message, which is you'll never get in a club. So you get this really intimacy between the audience and the musicians in the setting,
Yeah.
which is what really makes it a special
certainly
event.
is.
And people say, "Oh, it's so cheap. This is a great thing. We don't have to go into Manhattan and find parking and just come over here. Parking's easy in front of in
It's
our
a wonderful
area."
night.
And
Is it free or is there a donation or
There is a
what's the cost?
donation that we have. It's a suggested donation, $10, and that helps us provide the food and pay the musicians and that type of thing, and keep it going.
But I know that you also have ambition beyond the brownstone. Will you just abandon the brownstone for jazz and go for a club what's going to happen?
Sounds good.
It sounds good, but you've promoted this the Parlor Jazz as such a wonderful venue for artists and for patrons, for the spectators. It would be too bad if you abandoned it.
I don't think it would be abandoned. I would like to always keep something going on there, even if it was spoken word. You know, it may evolve into more than just jazz. Right now, it is jazz because we want it to be established as a jazz venue where you play what you feel, and one-on-one, between you and the audience. But I would like to definitely have a jazz club, and unlike many that I've experienced, where they don't really, sometimes the focus isn't always on the musicians.
Exactly.
But I would also really love to be one of the new John Hammond, discovering new jazz talent. And
do you see young people gravitating to jazz, or do you see a
not
void
as much as I'd
in
like
the
to.
youth?
Not as much as I'd like to see.
How could you promote it? What could you do?
Well, we could get it to the schools, which we've started to already. We posted up flyers at Pratt, and we have to hit more of the schools because
we've had kids in their early 20s walk past because Jim puts out the program in front of the building, so people walk up and down the block the last day will see, and they've actually come off the street, and they were young kids, and they really enjoy, like they're finding something they'd never seen before. And I really think that we could kind of bring back the youth to jazz,
because I don't think a lot of them know what. A lot of people have their own conception of what jazz is, and then when someone tells me they don't like jazz, I want to know what jazz are you talking about, because there's some type of jazz you'll like. They just may not realize that it's jazz or a form of it.
Right.
So
you see, because I'm that person that's guilty of saying I don't like jazz.
Okay.
Okay.
So we put
wait a
the
minute.
question to it. Go ahead.
Because
why is that?
Seriously, because I used to think. You see, I don't drink or smoke or anything like that. And someone used to ask me, "Did you have to go to jail not to drink or smoke?" No. I just never did. From a kid, I was abstinent. They used to call me a church boy, when I was coming up in the projects.
Yeah.
So I associated jazz. I said, you have to be high to understand that stuff. So I stayed away from it. Now I'm just thinking,
So what about hard rock? Acid rock?
Same
The
thing.
same thing?
Same thing. So a guy like me who's so ignorant, I could sit down and maybe, I could hear someone in the church, scream something, and I go, woo, buddy!
Yeah.
But jazz, how do I fit in? Besides from there's a lot of nice women there.
He's looking at the pictures.
Well, you have to really find out more about it, and find out there's terminology. There's different types of jazz and where it came from, and different sounds. Scatting doesn't mean just because someone scats doesn't mean they're a jazz singer. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think that to be a jazz singer you have to scat. That's not true.
Not really.
All you have to do is be familiar with the instruments and how to play it and how to improvise, and you can do that vocally. It doesn't have to sound like the scatting that like Ella did, but Ella knew how to do it.
Okay.
Everybody can't do that. Betty Carter knew how to do it. Betty Carter could. This was her instrument, and she didn't just sing. Some people may say that her voice wasn't pleasant sounding, but it's not even all about that. Yes, you should be on tune, unless you're purposely trying to change it for whatever reason. But it's hearing the voice as an instrument instead of hearing the voice as you have a beautiful melodic voice, because it's more than that. And I think education to that makes people appreciate it more, just like abstract art.
But also the bebop sound, or you have the Great American Songbook. There's a compilation of tunes written by Gershwin and Cole Porter from the earlier times, which you can then put into a jazz rhythm and mode. And it doesn't have to be all that scanning
Well,
and
Jim
screaming.
Moore-
So it could be very melodic, you
Okay.
understand? Yes.
Jim Moorhan, Dave Palazzo, thank you for coming to Producer
Oh,
Profile.
thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
we'll check
It's great.
out Parlor Jazz in the moment.
Yeah,
check out.
we'll expect
Thank you,
to see.
thank you.
Yes,
We're coming.
We have to educate you now.
All right.
Let you know
Okay.
what,
Yes, sir.
what
You
different
have to be
forms are.
educated.
Okay. You've been watching Producer Profile. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Jim Hill.
Until next time, bye-bye.